Hello, dear listeners. Welcome back to our news channel. Students, today's episode is actually like a courtroom drama, a political thriller, and a constitutional class all rolled into one. So, we are going to talk about what's been happening in Tamil Nadu, where the governor, the Supreme Court, and the state government got into a serious debate. Okay, so what's at the heart of the issue? What's actually happening? Students, 10 bills, don't worry, we'll discuss this, what actually is bill. So 10 bills passed by the Tamil Nadu state legislature were just sitting on the governor's desk, and that too for months. No approval, no rejection, no explanation, just silence. And the Supreme Court finally stepped in and said, enough is enough. Let's break it all down and understand what's the issue. Now, to understand all this, uh, what actually happened, we need to go at the beginning, right? So let's start from the beginning. See, students, when our lawmakers decide that they want to make a law, they want to make a new law or change an old one, they create something called bill. ओके, तो जब हमारे लॉ मेकर्स डिसाइड कर लेते हैं कि एक न्यू लॉ बनाना है या फिर पुराने लॉ को चेंज करना है, तो दे क्रिएट समथिंग कॉल्ड बिल. Okay, so think of bill as a rough draft of a law. Okay, it's a rough draft of a law. And then what happens is the bill is introduced in either the legislative assembly or legislative council if the state has two houses. And what is legislative assembly and legislative council? These are the part of state legislature. ओके, जैसे नेशनल लेवल पर हमारे पास पार्लियामेंट है जहां पर बिल पास करने के बाद लॉ बनता है नेशनल लेवल पर, वहीं स्टेट लेवल पर वी हैव legislative assembly and legislative council. Okay, but Tamil Nadu only has one house, that is legislative assembly. Okay, तो ऐसा बहुत सारे स्टेट्स में जहाँ पे सिर्फ एक ही हाउस होता है, दो हाउस नहीं होते हैं. Okay, so once the bill is introduced, okay, once it is introduced, the bill is debated. So members of the assembly, they talk about it, they suggest changes, and sometimes they send it to a committee to study it better. Okay, and then we have is सेकेंड रीडिंग हो गया. सेकेंड रीडिंग में क्या होता है भाई, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि पहले तो बिल इंट्रोड्यूस किया जाता है. ओके, उसके बाद में कमेटी को भेजा जाता है कि इसको अच्छे से पढ़ना है. And then second reading, now the bill is discussed in more detail so that more changes can be proposed. And then in the third reading of the bill, this is the final round. Okay, so here the bill is either passed or rejected. So if the state has legislative council, the bill goes there next, and the council can make suggestions, but it can't block it forever. Okay, now the bill is passed, लेजिस्लेचर असेंबली में पास हो गया. कैसे पास हुआ? ऑफ कोर्स मेजॉरिटी होगा ना, मेजॉरिटी से वोटिंग मांगेंगे कि आप इस बिल से सहमत हो कि नहीं, whether you want this bill to be passed or not, whether you agree with the provisions of the bill or not. So they do the voting, and with majority, if the bill is passed, then it goes to the governor. And this is where our story heats up. Okay, so students, according to article 200 of our constitution, yes, article 200 of our constitution, the governor has four choices to do. Okay, first, either it can grant assent. This means the governor agrees. Okay, the governor agrees with the provision of the bill and the bill becomes a law, so it grant assent. So grant is assented. by the governor. And then this is the second option, withhold assent. Now this is a veto. The governor says no. So the bill dies unless, we'll get to that. And then return for reconsideration. Now here, the governor sends it back to the assembly with some suggestions. So if the assembly passes it again, the governor must act. Fourth option governor has is to reserve the bill for the president. So if the bill may go against the constitution or against the national interest, the governor can send it to the president of India. Sounds straightforward, right? But here's the twist. What if the governor does nothing? है ना, बिल आया असेंट के लिए, गवर्नर ने कुछ भी नहीं किया. So that's exactly what happened in Tamil Nadu, students. Yes. So Governor R.N. Ravi, he didn't approve, reject, or return 10 bills passed by the Tamil Nadu Assembly. He just kept them pending, and some for months. Eventually, when the assembly passed them again, he quickly referred them to the president without explanation. And that raised a big question. Can a governor delay any bill forever? Okay, so can a government just delay for it forever? That was the question. So Supreme Court said a big clear no. The court said the governor must act. Yes. So this is what the Supreme Court said. ऐसे ही सुप्रीम कोर्ट को हम थोड़ी ना कहते हैं कि ही इज द गारंटर एंड ही इज द प्रोटेक्टर ऑफ आवर फंडामेंटल राइट्स, है ना. So Supreme Court said big clear no. Court said the governor must act soon. Must act soon. Okay, as soon as possible. And the constitution doesn't allow them to sit on bills. Okay, constitution doesn't allow governor to sit on bills, and governors are meant to be guides, not roadblocks. Yes, this is very very important. So governor, that is what Supreme Court said, that governors are meant to be guides and not roadblocks. So it even set deadlines. Okay, Supreme Court has also set the deadlines, like 1 month to grant or withhold assent. Okay, 1 month to grant or withhold assent, 3 months to reserve a bill for the president. Yes, and 1 month to act on a bill that's been repassed after reconsideration. Okay, now why is this such a big deal? Well, students, some governors in states, they were accused of delaying bills on purpose to basically slow down the state's work. And this creates a constitutional crisis because the governor is supposed to work with the elected government and not against it. The Supreme Court's ruling clears the confusion. It says you can't delay bills endlessly. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आप कभी एंडलेस टाइम के लिए आप बिल्स को डिले करते रहो. नो, can't be possible. And governors must work with a sense of urgency. Okay, and governor is not above the legislature. So this also protects state rights and stop the misuse of constitutional powers. Okay, so that is what had happened. Now, अच्छा, बिल्स के बारे में जब हम बात करते हैं तो एक ऑर्डिनरी बिल होता है और एक मनी बिल होता है. सो मनी बिल इज समथिंग विच डील्स विद टैक्सेस और स्टेट स्पेंडिंग, एंड इट कैन ओनली बी इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन द लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली. Okay, so you can say that the legislative assembly is more powerful than the council. Okay, now what if a governor vetoes a bill? Okay, what if governor vetoes a bill? So if the governor uses a veto and withholds assents, there's still hope. ऐसा नहीं कि सारी कहानी बंद हो जाएगी. No, assembly can reintroduce the bill, and if they pass it again at two-thirds majority. So if the bill is passed again, अच्छा सबसे पहले एक बार पास किया तो गवर्नर ने विदहोल्ड कर दिया असेंट, है ना. उसके बाद असेंबली ने दोबारा से रीइंट्रोड्यूस किया, एंड इफ दे पास इट अगेन विद टू-थर्ड्स मेजोरिटी, दे कैन पुश द गवर्नर टू एक्ट. सो इन दिस वे democracy always finds a way forward. All right, students. So that's all for today. So क्या क्या हमने आज सीखा? सबसे पहले तो गवर्नर इज what? Governor is a constitutional figure and not a political boss. And constitution gives them clear options under Article 200. Moreover, delays and silence are not allowed. The Supreme Court said so loud and clear that delays and silence will not be tolerated. Okay? So, students like you should know how laws are made because you're the future lawmakers, leaders, and citizens of this country. Okay? So, thanks for listening, students. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, share it with your friends on family and maybe even start a discussion in your school. And remember, democracy works best when everyone understands how it actually works. Okay? So, that's all for today, students. Stay curious, stay informed, and see you in the next episode.